The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days, and neither had Maya's tears. She stood in the empty penthouse one last time, her reflection fractured in the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked Manhattan. Behind her, the marble floors echoed with the ghost of arguments, of promises shattered like the crystal vase she'd thrown against the wall last month. The movers had taken everything that mattered to her, which, as it turned out, fit into just 4 boxes. 3 years of marriage reduced to cardboard and packing tape. She didn't leave a note. What could she possibly say to Alexander Chen that hadn't already been screamed, whispered, or sobbed into the void between them? The divorce papers sat on the kitchen island. Her signature still wet, his space waiting empty. Maya pulled her coat tighter and walked out, leaving behind the penthouse, the life of galas and charity events, the suffocating weight of being Mrs. Chen. She left behind everything except the one thing that had always been hers, her heart, battered but still beating. 6 hours later, she sat in her childhood bedroom in Queens, the wallpaper still decorated, with faded sunflowers her mother had chosen 20 years ago. Her phone buzzed incessantly with calls from numbers she didn't recognize. She ignored them all. It wasn't until her mother knocked softly and opened the door that Maya looked up. "Mia, there's a situation outside." Maya followed her mother to the window and her breath caught. Parked on their modest street, looking absurdly out of place between old Hondas and a rusted pickup truck, sat a sleek black SUV. As she watched, a man in a crisp suit emerged, speaking into his phone. Then she saw it, further down the block, partially obscured by the bodega on the corner, the distinctive profile of a vehicle she'd only seen twice before. Alexander's private transport team. "No," Maya whispered. "No, no, no." The doorbell rang. Her father was already moving toward it, but Maya rushed past him. She yanked open the door, ready to send whoever it was away, but the words died in her throat. It wasn't Alexander's assistant. It wasn't his lawyer. Standing on her parents' worn welcome mat was Evelyn Chen, Alexander's mother, a woman who had barely spoken 10 words to Maya during their entire marriage. "Mrs. Chen, may I come in?" Evelyn's voice was soft, nothing like the ice-cold distance Maya had grown accustomed to at family dinners where she'd been treated like expensive furniture. They sat in the small living room, Maya's mother serving tea with trembling hands, clearly overwhelmed by the presence of one of New York's most formidable matriarchs. Evelyn waited until they were alone before she spoke. "I'm not here on behalf of my son," she began. "I'm here because of what you did 2 months ago." Maya's mind raced. 2 months ago. The memory surfaced slowly. The hospital, the middle of the night, the phone call. "The little girl," Evelyn continued, her composed facade cracking slightly. "My granddaughter. The daughter I didn't know existed until she was dying," Maya remembered. She'd been at a charity gala, one of the countless events she attended as Alexander's wife, when he'd received the call. A woman he'd dated years before Maya, before their arranged marriage, had died suddenly. She'd left behind a 5-year-old daughter, Alexander's daughter, who was in critical condition, needing a bone marrow transplant. She remembered Alexander's face, pale as death, as he'd left the gala without explanation. She remembered following him to the hospital, watching him crumble as doctors explained that the little girl, Lily, had a rare blood disorder. They needed a family match. They'd tested Alexander immediately. Not a match. They'd tested Evelyn. Not a match. Then Maya had stepped forward. "Test me." The doctors had hesitated. She wasn't blood family. The chances were infinitesimally small. But Maya had insisted, and by some miracle, some impossible twist of fate, she'd been a match. "I did what anyone would do," Maya said quietly. "No." Evelyn's voice was firm. "You did what someone with a pure heart would do. You donated your bone marrow to save the child of your husband's former lover. The child he'd hidden from you. From all of us. You spent 3 days in the hospital recovering. And you never told anyone outside of the medical team. Alexander doesn't even know it was you. He thinks it was an anonymous donor." Maya looked away. She'd made the doctor's promise. The marriage was already fracturing then, already beyond saving. She hadn't done it for Alexander or for gratitude, or for any reason except that a little girl deserved to live. "Why are you here?" Maya asked. Because 2 hours ago, Lily asked about the person who saved her. She's well enough now to understand what happened. She wanted to draw a picture, to say thank you to her angel donor, and the hospital, bound by confidentiality, wouldn't tell us. So Alexander did what he does. He used every resource, every connection, every dollar, until someone broke protocol. Evelyn's eyes glistened. He knows, Maya. He knows it was you. The sound of a helicopter broke the afternoon quiet, growing louder until it was impossible to ignore. Maya's father pulled back the curtain. There's a helicopter landing in the school parking lot across the street. Maya stood on shaking legs. Tell him I don't want his money. Tell him the divorce stands. Tell him! He's not here to beg, Evelyn interrupted. He's here to answer. To answer for every cold dinner, every missed anniversary, every time he chose the company over you. To answer for not seeing what kind of woman he'd married, not just beautiful and graceful, but genuinely, impossibly good. She stood, placing a gentle hand on Maya's shoulder. But more than that, there's someone who needs to meet you. Someone who's been asking for her angel. 20 minutes later, Maya found herself sitting in the back of the helicopter, her mother beside her, gripping her hand tight. They landed at a private facility in Westchester. Not the hospital, but a rehabilitation center surrounded by gardens. Alexander met her on the helipad. He looked different, thinner, older, with dark circles under his eyes that makeup couldn't hide. He opened his mouth to speak, but Maya shook her head. Not now, later if there's a later. He nodded and led her inside. Through French doors, into a sunlit room where a little girl sat surrounded by art supplies. She had Alexander's dark hair and eyes that held too much understanding for someone so young. Lily, Alexander said softly. This is Maya. The little girl's face transformed. She scrambled up, clutching a piece of paper, and ran to Maya. You're my angel! You're real! I drew you, but I didn't know what you looked like. So I made you have wings because angels have wings, right? Maya knelt down, tears streaming freely now, and took the drawing. It showed 2 stick figures, one small, one tall with crayon wings, holding hands under a rainbow. The rainbow is for after the storm, Lily explained seriously. Grandma says there's always a rainbow after a storm if you wait long enough. Maya pulled the little girl into her arms, feeling the small body alive and warm and whole against her chest. You don't need to thank me, she whispered. You being here, being healthy, that's everything. She stayed for hours. They painted together, read stories, walked through the gardens. Lily chattered about kindergarten, about the friend she missed, about wanting a puppy. Normal, beautiful, mundane things. Things that were only possible because of a choice Maya had made without hesitation. As the sun set, Alexander finally approached. They stood apart, the evening air cool between them. I was a terrible husband, he said. I took you for granted. I treated our marriage like a business arrangement because that's what it started as. And I never let it become more. I never let you become more to me than an obligation. Yes, Maya said simply. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just need you to know that for 3 years I was blind. And now I see. I see that you gave everything, your time, your kindness, your literal self, and I gave you nothing but an empty home and an emptier marriage. Maya watched Lily through the window, coloring at her table. I didn't save her for you. I didn't do it to fix us. I know, that's what makes it extraordinary. You saved my daughter because you saw a child who needed help. Because that's who you are. His voice broke. The jet, the resources, the money, I'd give it all, every cent, to have your capacity for love. But that's not something you can buy or acquire. You either have it or you don't. They stood in silence as stars emerged in the darkening sky. What happens now? Maya asked. That's your decision. The divorce papers are still on the island. I haven't touched them. If you sign them, I'll sign them. If you want to walk away from all of this, from me, from Lily, from everything, I understand. You've given enough. Maya thought about the empty penthouse, the hollow years, the loneliness of being married and utterly alone. But she also thought about Lily's laugh, about second chances, about rainbows after storms. I need time, she said finally. I need to figure out who I am outside of being your wife. I need to heal. But Lily, her voice caught. Lily deserves to know me. Not as your wife or ex-wife, but as someone who cares about her. Then start there, Alexander said. Start with her. Let the rest figure itself out. Over the following months, Maya became a constant in Lily's life. She attended doctor's appointments, school plays, birthday parties. She watched the little girl grow stronger, healthier, more vibrant, and slowly, carefully, she began to heal too. Alexander kept his distance, letting Maya set the pace, showing up only when invited. He sold the penthouse and moved to something smaller. He cut back his hours. He went to therapy. He became gradually someone Maya didn't quite recognize, vulnerable, present, real. One afternoon in spring, nearly 8 months after Maya had walked out, they sat together in Lily's garden while she chased butterflies. The divorce papers had remained unsigned, forgotten on the kitchen island that no longer existed. "I don't know if I can ever trust you again," Maya said. "I don't know if we can fix what was broken." "I know," Alexander replied. "But maybe we don't fix it. Maybe we build something new, something honest, starting from exactly here." Lily ran up with a dandelion, its white seeds ready to scatter. "Make a wish," she commanded, holding it up to Maya. Maya closed her eyes. She didn't wish for the past to change or the future to be certain. She wished for the courage to stay open, to believe in rainbows after storms, to trust that sometimes the most broken things can become the most beautiful. She blew, and the seeds scattered on the wind, carrying hope into the world.